industry peers. I mean, really, I can't even say that. Like, I grew up looking up to him. He was ahead of me in the game. I'm kind of waiting for more details to come out because it's just a very disturbing report, just accidentally this. But I don't know. You kind of caught me at a loss for words and kind of reflecting on my own memories. Malcolm was like the first former child actor that my mother even let me go out with late at night past 11 p.m. And I had a very close relationship with both him and Michelle Thomas. May they both rest in peace. So please remember him as a poet, a Grammy Award-winning musician, and an actor who did a lot more than just star on a sitcom when he was a kid.
Nobody expected this. When the news came out about Malcolm-Jamal Warner's death, it didn't just land like any other headline, it felt different. It was sudden, quiet, and heavy. For many of us, it wasn't just about losing an actor we'd grown up watching, it was about losing someone who had been part of our homes, our evenings, and our childhood memories. Malcolm was the man who brought warmth, intelligence, and a gentle sense of humor to the screen as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. He wasn't just a TV character, he was the relatable one. The big brother type. The one who made mistakes, learned from them, and always found his way back. We trusted him. We rooted for him. And just like that, he was gone. According to reports, Malcolm was found unresponsive near a private pool in Los Angeles. Authorities called it a drowning. No foul play was mentioned. No official health condition was confirmed. But for fans, the loss didn't make sense. How could someone like Malcolm, strong, grounded, and far from the reckless Hollywood stereotype, end up this way? That unanswered question hung heavy over everything. This wasn't just another celebrity death. This wasn't the kind of headline you see, sigh, and scroll past. This one hit deep. We didn't just lose an actor. We lost a part of ourselves. Tributes started flooding in from co-stars, TV legends, directors, and producers. Social media filled with old photos, favorite episodes, and heartfelt memories.
On to the tragic death of beloved actor Malcolm-Jamal Warner, who authorities say drowned while on vacation with his family in Costa Rica.
Fans wrote things like, "He was the reason I felt seen on TV," and "Theo set the standard for every cool big brother on television after that." But in the middle of all those public goodbyes, one stood out. It didn't come from a fellow Cosby Show cast member or a Hollywood press release. It came from someone you might not have expected to speak up, Jaleel White, the actor who played Steve Urkel on Family Matters. Jaleel didn't post a polished statement or a safe, PR-approved paragraph. What he shared was personal, raw, and deeply emotional, the kind of message that made people stop scrolling and read it twice. It was a simple black and white photo of him and Malcolm, taken backstage somewhere in the 1990s. They were young, relaxed, smiling with their arms slung over each other's shoulders, not like two actors posing for publicity, but like real brothers. The photo wasn't staged. It was personal. The caption hit even harder: "You were the only one who knew what it really felt like to smile for cameras while breaking inside. To carry a show and still feel invisible."
That's the real world.
Well, it's a lot tougher than I thought it was. But you know what? So am I.
I never said thank you enough for being my shelter when I needed it. I still hear your voice telling me to hold on. This one hurts more than anyone will ever know. This wasn't just a tribute. It was a confession. Fans flooded the comments with reactions like, "This isn't PR. This is guilt. This is grief. This is love," and "This sounds like a man who didn't get to say what he needed to while Malcolm was alive." Jaleel has always been private, rarely posting emotional content. For him to share something so vulnerable meant the pain was real, deep, and years in the making. What most people didn't know was that Malcolm and Jaleel had a bond going back decades. In the late 80s and early 90s, both were young black male leads at the center of hugely popular sitcoms, The Cosby Show and Family Matters. These weren't just TV hits, they were cultural landmarks. But behind the smiles, both faced the same pressures: being young, famous, and carrying the weight of entire shows on their shoulders. There weren't many support systems for actors like them back then.
Like the first former child actor that my mother even let me go out with late at night past 11 p.m. And I had a very close relationship with both him and Michelle Thomas. May they both rest in peace. So please remember him as a poet, a Grammy Award-winning musician, and an actor who did a lot more than just star on a sitcom when he was a kid.
The expectations were relentless. The pressure to be perfect never stopped. And in that environment, the two became each other's safe place. They'd cross paths at award shows, youth events, and charity campaigns, but off-camera, they leaned on each other in ways the public never saw: late-night phone calls, venting about network executives, talking about the fear of being forgotten. After the spotlight faded, when Jaleel was mocked and boxed in as just Urkel, Malcolm reminded him of his worth. When Malcolm's music career didn't get the recognition he hoped for, Jaleel encouraged him to keep creating. They weren't just industry peers, they were brothers in survival, but over time, as happens to so many friendships, the closeness began to fade. There was no fight, no betrayal, just life pulling them in different directions. Malcolm shifted his focus to music, poetry, and behind-the-scenes work, chasing creative freedom rather than fame. Jaleel kept fighting to prove he was more than his most famous character, taking on projects that could redefine him in the public by the early 2000s.
The height of the show, when I was a teenager, and people would ask me, well, what's it like, being successful? And even then I said, well, I can't really measure, success with this show. It won't be until I'm 40, 50, 60 years old, having worked consistently as an actor and as a director, will I be able to look back on my career and say, I've been successful. So I feel, now, like, yeah, I'm working consistently. I'm doing the kind of work I want to do. I'm a creative person. I'm a writer, I'm an actor, I'm a director, I'm a musician, I'm a poet. Like, I'm all of that. And I finally got to a place where I've been able to accept all of that, or rather embrace all of that, and really accept the title of being an artist.
Their contact had become occasional, a quick hello at an event, a short text exchange. Eventually, even those grew rare. Missed calls went unreturned. Not because of anger, but because both quietly accepted the distance. Some say Malcolm thought Jaleel was still seeking validation from an industry that had never fully appreciated them. Others believed Jaleel felt Malcolm was shutting people out. Whatever the reason, the friendship simply drifted. Their last phone call came unexpectedly, after a mutual friend passed away. They spoke briefly, "How's the family? We should catch up soon," but deep down, they both seemed to know they wouldn't. In Jaleel's tribute, the line, "I should have called back," wasn't just guilt, it was the sharp sting of regret. Malcolm's funeral wasn't a public event. Jaleel attended quietly, not as a celebrity guest but as a grieving friend. Those who saw him there say he kept to himself but broke down at one point. Malcolm's sister reportedly told him, "Malcolm always spoke fondly of you. He never had a bad word to say." That moment brought a small measure of peace, but it couldn't erase the years of silence. Both men had lived with the blessing and burden of their most famous roles. For Malcolm, being Theo Huxtable was both an honor and a trap. For Jaleel, Steve Urkel was even harder to escape. No matter how much they grew, the world refused to see them as anything else. Malcolm tried to break free through jazz, poetry, and serious acting roles, but casting directors still saw him as the kid from The Cosby Show. After the Bill Cosby scandal, the once beloved association became a shadow over his career, even though Malcolm had nothing to do with it. Jaleel's struggle was just as exhausting. Urkel was a cultural phenomenon that swallowed his identity. No matter what he did, Hollywood kept bringing him back to that same nerdy character. The industry had a short memory. Once the sitcom years were over, the calls slowed down. In his later years, Malcolm withdrew even more. Friends noticed him missing events, skipping birthdays, and ignoring calls. Quiet rumors of health problems surfaced, heart issues, mental health struggles, but he never confirmed anything publicly. Many assumed he was just living privately. In reality, the silence may have been a sign of deeper pain. Then came that day by the pool. Whether it was an accident, a medical emergency, or something else entirely, one truth remains: Malcolm was carrying more than we realized. Jaleel's post was more than a goodbye. It was an open wound, the kind of message you only write when you've lost the chance to say it face to face. Regret, gratitude, and grief all tangled together. Maybe the real takeaway here isn't just about Malcolm and Jaleel. Maybe it's about us, about the calls we keep putting off, the messages we never send, the friends we assume will always be there until they're not. Malcolm deserved his flowers while he was still here. The least we can do now is honor him properly, for the laughter, the lessons, the quiet strength he shared with the world, because in the end, this story isn't only about two actors. It's a reminder to check in, to speak up, and not to let silence be the last thing between you and someone you care about. At the end of the day, this isn't just some random gossip story, it's a tangled mix of emotions, secrets, and unanswered questions that's kept people hooked for years. Every new detail feels like another piece of a puzzle, but the full picture is still hidden. And that's what makes this so fascinating. Whether the truth comes out tomorrow, next year, or never, one thing's clear: this situation has left a mark that won't fade anytime soon. People will keep talking, speculating, and watching closely, hoping for that one moment when everything finally makes sense, but until that day comes, all we can do is follow the clues, connect the dots, and keep the conversation alive. Maybe the truth is already out there, hidden in plain sight, or maybe we've only scratched the surface. Either way, this isn't over, not by a long shot. So, what do you think? Have we seen the real story yet, or is there still more waiting to be uncovered? Share your thoughts below, because your perspective matters. And as always, stay tuned, stay curious, and keep your eyes wide open. This ride is far from finished, and the next chapter could be even wilder.